everyone, I'm Cassidy Jensen, a licensed professional counselor.
And I'm Grace Allspaw, a licensed marriage and family therapist. And we are both owners of our own therapy practices and passionate about the world of therapy.
This is Two View Therapy, the podcast. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Darn it. Oops, I did it again. The right microphone. Live. Hello. Welcome. It's just us messing with mics again. We're trying little guy mics with fun little fluffy tops.
Ah, they're so fun.
They feel like bunnies.
They're very soft and I like that.
Yes, mine kind of in my neck. Hello.
Check. Hello. Hi, welcome to episode 15. How exciting, 15.
I know, we are chugging along.
That means by the time this comes out, we'll be 15 weeks since we released the first episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, you will also be enjoying your married time in Florida.
Sayonara.
Yeah. Have you got your, where are you staying?
Airbnb?
Okay. That's what I was telling Zach, and he was like,
Yeah.
for a whole month. And I was like, I think so.
Yeah. They'll give you a discounted rate for a month.
Okay, I was thinking so, but
yeah. I'm super excited. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting close. While we're recording this, I'm about 2 weeks out from leaving.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, I will have been there for about 2 weeks.
I was gonna say you'll be 2 weeks from coming back.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. We're emotional support water bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that us talking about Florida kind of leads into some of today's topic of trust and safety, because
Mm-hmm.
I do have a few people there that I do trust and feel that my safety was at risk. I could trust them.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of intentional, right? Because
Yeah.
you already kind of knew that area and were
Yeah.
familiar with a few
Yeah.
people there.
I was a little worried. My comfort zone is I've always been here.
Mm-hmm.
And so to stay within my comfort zone, I chose somewhere where I knew someone. Out of my comfort zone is far away from here.
Yeah.
There's a balance of both. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm excited for you. I'm a little jealous, but
Thanks.
we'll just see
If I
how
do it
goes.
again, you can join me.
I cannot do a whole month with kids. I could, but I would be feeling guilty.
Yeah, you could maybe do 2 weeks.
Maybe.
We could do Europe or something.
I do want to go to Europe again.
Yeah. Hey, right now, Lauren, if you're listening, if we haven't got tickets to Europe, we need to. It's on sale right now.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't know. Any specific places?
Yeah. Venice.
Uh-huh. I don't care to go to Italy.
There's a ton, actually.
I
could tell you more later.
I want to go back to London. I'd like to check out Dublin. I really loved Edinburgh.
Dublin, I think.
Yeah.
They've been in one place that I was like, I don't think I'd want to go there.
Yeah.
Like Frankenfurt or something. Frankfurt thing. I don't know. Something.
Uh-huh.
I was just like, that doesn't sound appealing to me. I don't know.
I'm just thinking about hot dogs now.
All right, let's dive into today's episode. 3 minutes in now. Trust. Healing broken trust.
How to make repairs. How do you know when that trust has been broken?
Yeah. How do you create safety again? If
Yeah.
that was lost.
Yeah, so we were just discussing, and kind of debating if safety belongs in this, but I think we both agree it does.
Mm-hmm.
Without the safety, I think without the safety, we run into the issues of lacking trust.
Yeah.
Or breaking down that trust.
Yeah. Well, if you don't feel safe with someone, what could you trust them with?
Mm-hmm.
That puts limits on what you share or what you could rely on someone for.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
Emotional, physical, mental.
All of it. Yeah. Yeah. So I think to start, both of us want to talk about how trust can be lost then it's not necessarily one big event. It doesn't have to be.
Well, I think when people think, oh, trust is broken, we think relationships and like some big event that happened.
Affair, like that kind of big life.
Yes. Those, I think, seem obvious.
Yeah. I think even when you look at like teenagers and parental relationships, staying out past curfew.
Yeah.
Or
you downloaded this app, you're using this kind of verbiage in your texts.
You were talking to someone you shouldn't have been. Yeah. Hanging out somewhere you shouldn't have been, didn't tell parents, didn't ask. Like those kind of big things. I think couple-wise could be spending money you didn't discuss spending large sums.
Yeah.
Bringing a dog home.
Or a mini cow.
Or a mini cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Friendships. I'm just trying to think what they're breaking down trust.
Friendships, I think, gets a little dicier. It looks a little different than like the intimate relationships with a partner or parent-child. I do think trust can be lost in those of maybe I've told you something and you tell another friend. I also think trust can be broken in some ways. I think every relationship has some form of a contract, not necessarily written out, but like
expectation.
Yeah,
you would.
Yeah, like I talk with clients about their marital contract. Like, did you guys discuss that sleeping with other people wasn't okay? Like that kind of thing. And I think
the basic parameters.
Yes.
Okay.
Within friendships, I think that can be there as well. Of maybe it's I don't want you talking to my ex-partner, or
kind of the girl code or the guy code.
Yeah.
These people are opposites.
Yeah. I don't feel safe hanging out with this group of people and you keep putting me there.
Well, I think back to like middle school or early high school when like you don't like somebody, so they're also not supposed to like somebody.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you?
Patty.
Why'd you like their Facebook post?
Yeah. Which is not necessarily what I'm saying but I do think that happens. Sadly. Like almost that feeling of, are we back in middle school?
Yeah.
So trust isn't necessarily broken because of one big event. But I think even just what we just laid out could be multiple reasons why trust ends up.
Sequence of events.
Yeah.
I want to relate this kind of back to our asking for help episode, because I think that's a great way to lose trust. I've asked for help. I put myself out there. I was vulnerable. I expressed a need. Maybe you said you were going to help me. And then you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't follow through.
You know, you and I were chatting earlier off camera about love languages, and one of them is words of affirmation. And I was looking at love languages yesterday with a couple, which I'm not like love languages are the answer, but I think that they're a good place to start at times. And it says like in the definition of words of affirmation, stating something like, I'd love to help you with that later. It's this verbal commitment. Maybe that was under acts of service. It was under acts of service. Okay. Sorry. Acts of service where someone says, I'd love to help you with this later, and then they don't do it. But that often breaks trust for those people.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
It's a disappointment that you keep bearing. And then you don't want to ask anymore. Because it is easier if I just do it myself instead of asking and waiting and then it not happening.
Well, and that constant blow. Like, okay, I've asked for help, especially in like an intimate partner relationship. I've asked for help. I've not gotten it. I've asked for help. I've not gotten it.
Yeah.
And then they end up in the therapy room talking about the trash never gets taken out. Like,
yeah.
It's never about the trash.
No, there's bigger issues.
Yes.
At hand.
Something else going on.
Well, I recently had a mother-daughter combo. Both adults, but they were kind of exploring. And that's also why I picked today to go off of is exploring what happened in their relationship to have this breakdown. Because we were really close and I considered her my best friend too. And now I don't want mom around at all. So we were exploring that in the therapy room.
You see them together. How incredible. I'm like, my spidey senses are going. I'm like,
yeah, here I am.
system.
I'm doing a couple, but not a couple.
Yeah.
I can do it sometimes, but I would rather just see one person.
Yeah.
It's every time I'm like, oh no, but every time I'm like, yes. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
we started doing a timeline and exploring what was going on, but it came back to assumptions were being made, or, we had expectations, but they were never voiced. So in this instance, mom wanted to watch her granddaughter. And then the daughter ended up leaving and going back home. And the mom felt crushed because she didn't get to hang out with her more. But that was never vocalized. It was never voiced.
So that hidden message.
Yeah. So then mom feels a type of way. So then mom might be acting a type of way. And the daughter can pick up that there's like, mom is upset.
Attention.
Uh-huh. But then daughter shuts down, is like, I can go home. I'm a grown-ass person. So then she goes home. But then there's two people upset for two different reasons. But then they didn't discuss it.
Well, and probably in that situation, boundaries weren't discussed before. Of I'd love to hang out, but I can only do.
This is what it's going to look like.
Yes. So then when boundaries weren't, it's that trend that's happening right now on social media of like, you only have 30 minutes. Have you heard that?
No.
It's an audio and it says like, you only have 30 minutes. And they say, 30 minutes? Like, yeah, you only have 30 minutes. It's this idea, but the trend is saying me creating my timeline in my head without telling anybody and then saying, you only have 30 minutes. That's the same type of thing here of they've both created some scenario in their head, but they've not said it out loud.
Correct. Yes.
So nobody else knows that they only have 30 minutes.
Yeah. So they both have deep wounds. And we were discussing how can we come to some repair and what might that even look like. So that was their homework to look into.
So with that, when you look at their situation, is this a gradual buildup?
It happened over like the last year, but there's different point. Like we just don't have enough time to like delve deep into childhood.
Yeah. This wasn't one event.
No, it was multiple things. It was going back to those assumptions. I thought it was going to be this way. She thought it was going to be that way. Neither panned out, and now we're both just a little pissed off about it.
Yeah.
But also, because there's been such a breakdown of communication, because I think that definitely plays a role here. They're quick to get defensive. I think a lot of people can. Because there's such a breakdown.
Yeah.
We're quick to react. We're not as regulated. Where was I going with this? Safety.
Safety. Okay.
Neither feels like it's a safe space to really voice how they're feeling, or to have the space be patient with them while they piece together exactly how they're feeling. Like it's going to be messy.
So I'm curious even, and not even specifically with these clients, but in general, when you see people working through different events relationally like that, if they can put verbiage to, I don't trust them anymore, or I don't feel safe anymore.
I don't know if a lot of people see it that way.
Okay.
I don't know, in your experience, you have more relational things than I do. So,
yeah. I would say more so people are just angry.
Yes.
Like, there's not a moment where I try and facilitate this of, okay, why is there anger there?
Yeah.
But I don't think we as a society teach people to question why they're feeling a certain way, especially anger, because anger is labeled as bad. And so you just ignore it and you don't dive into like, I don't feel safe. If I didn't feel safe and I lived in a home with someone or I was around someone all the time, I'd probably be angry too, because I'd be so uncomfortable. And
right. Being on edge, I think,
constant.
Create that anger.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'd be curious how many people really sit with themselves and think about safety. Again, with the trust, safety in multiple ways.
I'm curious. How do you define safety? Like,
Ooh.
in this situation of talking about trust and safety, are there limits to safety? As in physical, emotional, mental?
Yeah, well, the example with the mom and daughter, I think safety looks like not being reactive and actively listening. So I think it depends on the level of safety, if that makes sense. I don't know
Yeah.
what that's really looking like.
I
Feel free to correct me.
I don't disagree with you. I do think I don't know much about this system that you're talking about, but looking big picture at it from what I know, safety over time probably became less and less,
Yes.
which then in turn affected trust.
Yeah. Well, and going back, we just need to do a communication episode.
Yeah.
Miscommunication decreased the safety, which decreased the trust.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they came to the office because they were both just fed up and angry.
So that one would be.
Right. Because they were both just slightly off. But I could see when talking to them, they were both very passionate. They both had the same end goal here. We just had to figure out how do we get there, which brought me to what does repairing look like.
Yeah. I think repair is really hard. And I think I talked about this on another episode of people will say, well, I just need to regain my trust.
Okay. Yes.
How?
What does that look like?
Yeah. Like, give me the details.
I think yes.
Because just blanket statement, I need to regain my trust. Okay.
And?
There's more to that sentence.
Right. That's like when people say, just don't be anxious. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. If you don't want me to be anxious, how? Like, what tools?
Yeah. What pieces are in place here?
Yeah.
And I want to also point out in relationships, friendships, workships,
all of it.
All of it. Yes. Two-way street. You're both rebuilding. It's not one person's job or the other. Both people are putting in some effort.
So curious. What if only one person's putting in the effort? How does that work?
How do we expect there to be any change?
That's a great point. It is.
What are we doing then? I've seen this in some of the very few couples that I have seen where we're at a standstill. But, you know, what are we doing? What do we want? How do we expect there to be anything different?
I worked with a couple that came in. One was very much out. I'm done. She wasn't trusting of him, was not feeling safe. There was no comfort or relational satisfaction, really. Like, it was very much like they came in and I thought, what are they doing here? Like, I almost always wish couples would come in just like
a little bit early.
Even family systems come in just a little bit before you do.
Yeah.
Like,
don't wait till everything's crumbling.
No. Which is typically when we do them, which is fine.
That's because we're the last straw.
Yeah. This is the last option, last ditch effort, which is fine. So they come in, trust has been broken, very conflicting? I don't know. Yeah. Lots of conflict. Lots of tension, just not having a good time. And for a number of sessions, I was just like I don't know what we're doing here. And had said to them, if there's no flexibility or no desire for true change, I don't know that this can do anything. Like, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some, like, I refer to as bank account, like their emotional bank account.
Mm-hmm.
There were some moments where some money was put in and they were still negative.
Where you got this idea from?
Yeah, I wonder where.
I've heard your dad say the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know if he got it from me or I got it from him.
Well, I've heard this spiel before.
Yeah. So that was happening with this couple. And then they had a really big setback and like all the things. We'd had a session. It was okay. It was kind of tense. And then we went like a month and a half without a session just because of, like, I think I was sick and then they were sick and then out of town and just
the thing
life. And they came back in and it was completely different.
Interesting.
Their energy was different. Their like even affection towards each other, like that, just like
where
settle, reaching out, bid for connection. And I said, "What's different here?
Yeah,
what's happening? Like I want to understand how you got here, because it was not
work.
Like I don't know how. Please tell me." And they both kind of did this like sweet little like smile at each other. It's like, oh yeah, what am I missing?
Yeah,
what's happening?
Fill me in.
And ultimately, it came down to that they had been putting in the work for trust. That they had regained safety within their marriage, and going from when I first saw them thinking they're gonna be divorced like by the year, but this isn't going anywhere because they're in such different places. To now they've put in the work day in and day out to hear what the other person needed to rebuild trust. It wasn't just this, I need you to rebuild trust with me. There were details in there that they expressed to one another, and now they're safe.
Well, and thinking about this as you were talking, I was reflecting on, again, trust and regaining it, what it might look like. And I think it's like intimate connection, or like really being able to express and ask for needs and wants and desires, and to really have that be reciprocated.
Like some emotional intimacy.
Yeah.
So how does that translate? Because intimacy is a big word. How does that translate to friendships or parent-child?
Well, I obviously be different with friendships. I guess how I'm relating this is I've had clients talk about how it feels like a one-way street with friends. So I think with trust and rebuilding, people have to be given opportunities to try again.
Okay. So it's not a one and done.
No. I think that also plays into parents. If they don't have the opportunity to regain trust, how are they going to regain trust? So I think there has to be this opportunity of, having, again, conversation maybe with your friend of like, this is what I'm experiencing. This is what I would like to gain from you. I've noticed X, Y, and Z. And see if they're able to step up to the plate.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I have a lot of teens on my caseload right now.
You've done a lot.
Which I actually enjoy working with teens, and people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that, but they're just trying.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know that they don't have the tools. They've not been taught. They're just trying, just as we are. Like,
right.
And I think often teens are dismissed, and that really bothers me.
Right.
And so I don't mind working with teens. I actually enjoy it at times, but I do hear this repeated of, well, last time they couldn't handle it.
Yep.
Which that word handle, like, that gets to me of, well, what if they didn't know before? And parents are like, well, I told them. Okay, how did you tell them? How did you express that?
Yeah, what hasn't been learned? What hasn't been, like, is there a different way we can go about this? I think kids oftentimes do want to do good. They're lacking something, whether it be a skill or something. How do we help with that?
Yeah. Support.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the times when kids lose the trust, like parents don't trust them anymore, that often as that plays out, parents also lose trust. Like, maybe I'm saying that backwards. Yeah.
Parents are losing the trust, but the teen is losing the trust in the parent.
Yes.
Okay.
That I think it starts out as parents have lost trust in the kid's ability to listen, follow directions, be respectful, whatever it is. But with reactivity or responding in a way that's not phenomenal, not that it's bad, just that it's not working for their kid, then their kid doesn't trust them anymore, which then I think decreases safety. And you see this kind of like
Yeah, well, why would I want to tell my mom if I made a mistake? It's not safe. Like, I know what's coming. I'm going to get a lecture. I'm going to get yelled at.
Grounded, not see my friends.
I won't have my phone. I don't get to go do anything.
Which I hear a lot of parents say they lie for no reason. I would challenge that it's not for no reason.
Yeah.
But there's something there that's pushing them into the direction of lying because it's easier.
Yeah.
They don't have to deal with the consequences or parents saying things like, I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah.
Just that one.
I know.
Some ASMR here. Yeah. Okay. So with this of like regaining, do you think there's different levels of trust, or do you think it's all or nothing?
I don't think I ever really like all or nothing.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm going through my mind of like every circumstance, but I want to say probably not all or nothing. But I like to believe that there's always good in people. So
that's great. I want to believe that too. I think for the most part I do. But okay. Not all or nothing. There can be.
I think, here we go. My mind's catching up. I think it's not all or nothing, but I think in certain circumstances, people will recognize that their boundaries or their values have been overlooked enough where they do not want to be in that situation any longer. Morals, maybe.
Okay. What do boundaries fit in with that?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to, I'm thinking like intimate relationships here. We've described what we want in the relationship. Somebody stepped out. Maybe they leaned towards an open relationship and you were very much monogamous. Maybe that's a hard line in the sand that no matter what, that's just going to be a no. My boundary is that one's not going to be. Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
I was still thinking that's kind of like a hard value, a core value is what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
I don't know.
so you think you said core value?
I think of like fundamental pillars that make up who you are, and I see them as values, like core deep beliefs. Those are never going to change.
You have an example? Sorry, putting you on the spot.
No, I guess I'm thinking, and it could depend on different people, like no matter what, always being truthful or having the honesty.
Oh, like for yourself, like I'm always going to be honest.
Exactly. Like make up you and things that you aren't willing to let slide on.
Do you think that those core beliefs change as you get older?
I don't know. I would have to ask around to people who, I don't think a core belief and those pillars being like in everyone's mindset. I don't know. Potentially, but I think to some extent, certain people, like that's how it is. Those are ingrained.
So, okay. sorry to bring this up, Inside Out too.
Yes.
She has like a sense of self is what they call it.
Uh-huh.
I think that could be translated as narratives, core beliefs, negative cognitions. There's another one I was going to say, but now I can't pull it. Dang it, what is that? I don't know. Anyways, it could be, depending on, as a therapist, what viewpoint you're coming from, it could be defined as any of those things.
I think so.
So when you picture it that way, core beliefs, negative cognition, narratives, call it whatever you want, is there flexibility? Can they change over time?
I think that depends on the person, but I also see this as being more of a positive thing and how, like, who you believe yourself to be versus something negative.
Okay. At your core, just like,
yeah,
this is the truth.
I hold myself to be like a respectful, honest, truthful, kind person.
I'm going to ask an intense question here. If you have those core beliefs, okay, I'm an honest person, and then you lie.
Yep.
What does that do to your sense of self?
I think I've seen a similar situation that staying in a situation that goes against the grain has put them in quite a tizzy because they're going against what they want. But it's also what they want. So there is a lot of internal, turmoil.
Is there a part in that of part of me wants this, part of me wants this, that, whatever. And you don't know which to choose.
But what's the right answer? Yeah.
What's the right answer? You choose one, it doesn't go well. Do you lose trust in your own ability to?
I think there is some people struggling with, like, how do I even trust myself? That makes me think of some clients that have been in some of the not the best relationships.
Yeah.
They're like, how do I move forward? Because obviously I suck at picking, so I don't trust my own judgment here.
Yeah. At some point, we'll have an episode about, like, sense of self, body image, self-esteem, that kind of stuff. Confidence. Yeah, I think this plays a huge role in that of, do you feel safe and trust yourself? Like, safe internally.
Yeah, I think that's a great starting point.
Yeah.
I didn't mention the forefront of this, this also affects you and yourself.
Oh, yeah. This is a system. It affects all. Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that before we started talking today.
Right.
That personal viewpoint of, do I trust me?
Yeah.
Do I trust the relationships I've been in, the friendships I've had, the life choices I've made?
Yeah.
Am I safe in my own mind?
I've heard that one before, and I feel like that has a trickier resolution
than healing with another person.
I just think your sense of self and who you are, that's just such a deep, deep thing that also feels isolating and harder to understand.
Yeah. Oh, sorry if you just heard that weird noise. Hope the microphone didn't pick that up. I will say, when I look at, like, clients over the last few years and becoming a therapist, my caseload in general, that when people are focused on them, when that's like primary goal of safety in their own mind, or increasing sense of self, all of that, just like trust in their own ability to make choices or pick a partner, whatever that is, that seems to go really differently versus when there's another person involved. That if there's another person involved, there's at times still the sense of like people pleasing. Like I want to make sure that we're good, that we have trust, that whatever, rather than relying on their own
capabilities.
Dang it, we got to talk about differentiation.
We do. I will read that book this weekend.
Just listen to it. It's only like 5.5 hours.
Yeah, I can do it.
Shout out to Everything Isn't Terrible. Everyone should listen to it. It's by Dr. Kathleen Smith. It's the best book ever. And Cassidy's going to read it so we can talk about it.
Well, I've told numerous clients that I will read it with them so we can discuss it. So I need to actually do it.
I have had a number of clients that I have I read it and then they were reading it, and so we discussed it. And there's a part of that where you have to reflect on yourself, and they call it in their principles.
Okay.
But it's like the core belief. Maybe that's what I was trying to think of earlier, the principles. But they're about you. And that's really hard to look at yourself rather than focusing on everyone else. Everyone else is easy. You can,
but it's distracting.
Yeah, it's avoidance.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm curious, as we have just a few minutes left here, how do you repair trust once it's
I was going to say, I feel like we need to touch base on repair.
Yeah.
I say this a lot, and I'm going to bring it up again. The first step is having awareness.
Awareness of what?
Awareness that there's a lack of safety or a lack of trust.
Okay. So awareness for yourself of, I don't trust them, or I don't feel safe.
Yeah. In an ideal world, you're bringing that up with your partner and saying, like, something's amiss here, and I think it's these things.
Okay.
How do we work on that together? Keyword together.
What if there isn't a willingness to bring it up to your partner?
To even bring it up to them? Well, what do they expect will be different, even if they work on it themselves? And maybe that's clarity for who they are as a person.
Or who they're with.
Yes. And then boundaries or different conversations need to happen.
Okay.
If your partner isn't wanting to do any of these real difficult conversations and navigate any of this, I think that tells you a lot about the situation you're in. Again, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If there isn't a willingness to grow, you're going to grow apart.
Well, and if you guys, if you're in a relationship and there's no space in which you can come to someone and say, I'm struggling here, or I'm not feeling safe in this relationship, or I don't know that I trust you anymore.
Yeah.
That if that's not possible, there's maybe a bigger issue at hand.
Yeah. Well, but you have to be willing to be vulnerable here too.
Oh, yeah. I do think that's where people end up in therapy. When there isn't a safe opportunity to express.
Yes.
Loss of trust, loss of safety. And I think they come in and say, we suck at communicating.
It always comes down to communication.
And then I had a couple not that long ago that started that, what brings you in? What can we do in therapy, whatever. And they're like, our communication's terrible. I'm like, okay, what do you mean by that? Well, we don't talk about anything.
Okay.
What else? So we start talking, and it like opens. It's like a flower in bloom.
Yeah.
In the little closed off, and then communication, and then it starts to open, and you're like, oh, and you don't trust each other, and you don't share. Like,
yeah, it's really blossoming into tiger beast.
It's layered. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So repairing trust when it's broken. How would you suggest people express exactly what they need, or even figure out exactly what they need to repair?
It depends on how they've discovered that trust being broken. Is it, I've come to you and I've said some really important things and it felt like you didn't hear me. So how do we work on like active listening maybe? or I've come to you and I've told you these things really bother me when you do them.
Okay.
I don't know, just maybe being flirtatious or something. I don't know. I can't think of things. I don't want to sound petty. So I don't have a better example, but maybe your partner's just overly flirtatious and they don't see it as anything, but you express like, I'm with you. I don't think that's appropriate.
I'm uncomfortable by that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there could be some boundary conversations in that.
Yeah.
And I will remind anybody who's not listened to our boundary episode. If you haven't, go back and listen to it. It's episode 2, I think.
Is it?
Or 3?
I don't know. It's
at the beginning.
down the line.
Boundaries are not meant to control another person. They're meant to protect you.
Yeah.
And so when you go into those conversations needing to set boundaries, game plan prior that you're not going in and saying, I need you to stop doing this.
Yeah.
Because that's control, right?
Mm-hmm.
But turning it around and saying, I'm uncomfortable with a partner who is flirting with other men, women, whatever it is.
Yeah. I don't like that. To me, it's a me and you thing. And I want that saved for us. Not to be shared with other people.
Kept within.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you think on parent-child or friendship? Is that different than the romantic relationship or a pair?
Maybe. I think parents need to sit with and think about, like, not that they have to go balls to the wall, but what's a small thing that you guys can do together that creates, again, that opportunity. It's an opportunity for growth. It could be an opportunity for continued setback, but there's got to be an opportunity for that change. So, okay, I'm going to let you go to this movie with your friends. I need you to text me afterwards. I know how long the movie is. I'm going to have you text me afterwards, and then I'm going to come pick you up. There's not going to be any other activities afterwards. So, are they going to text me in 2 hours, or in 2 hours, are they saying they're going to go to Walmart? I don't know.
I just had a situation where a client wanted to do something and had asked parents, and parents said, no, like you've not earned that much trust back to be able to do this. And client was really upset, pretty torn up about it, asked about a month in advance. So like time, and I can't read parents' minds, but I think based on the kid's reaction, parents thought, there's some growth here.
Yeah.
Like kid wasn't throwing a temper tantrum, wasn't cursing at parents, wasn't isolating in bedroom, was just like, okay, like I respect your choice here.
Oof. Yeah, I think respect can play into that one.
Yes.
Respect the other person's decisions and thoughts here too.
Yes.
I think sometimes that gets lost sight of.
Yes. Which that response ultimately got them what they wanted. Being calm, not reactive, not questioning or screaming at parents.
We're more willing to work with the other person when it seems like we've been seen.
Yes. Yes. And about to go to this event, and then the rules around who this person can hang out with and all the things and
what it's going to look like. Hold yourself to it.
Yep. Which then the person she wasn't supposed to see was there. Got home, parents said, hey, were they there? And my client said, yeah. And I did spend time with them. And they said, thank you for being honest. Like it was that if they would have said no, that person was not there.
Different.
Parents knew the person was there. Like, okay, well then you've lied again. So trust goes back a notch.
Yeah.
So creating that change in behavior, what goes back to that same old statement that we love.
Yeah.
If nothing changes, nothing changes.
We wanted to say thank you for listening today. You can find our Instagram at 2View Therapy and view our merchandise through our Etsy shop at 2View Therapy.
Please rate, review, and subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. If you are in a mental health crisis, contact your local crisis center, or you can call and text 988.